Uh, Good morning, Richa.
Good morning, Sari. How are you?
Very well. Welcome to the SHEROES Hangout. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so
And
much for inviting.
it's an absolute privilege and honor to talk to somebody who does this for a living. I think we have a task at hand, but a totally enjoyable one. And a lot of people are deeply interested not only in your journey, but also the journey of your journey and a lot of work that you have created, your body of work, your career. I think these are very close to what we believe in at Shiro's, making your own version of success, going out and building empathy in your work, and I think your work has been a wonderful model of that. So we'll go down that journey in just a moment. But why don't I begin by asking you uh, a little more about Richa? I think everybody knows Richa, the anchor. Everybody knows Richa, the person who's on TV. But let's take a step back and know Richa, the girl who went to college. Let's know, where did you grow up? Tell us about early days in your career. Tell us about your family. Introduce us to Richa, the person.
Okay, Sari. So it's a long story. um, I grew up in a small town of Jhansi, which I'm so much in love with. And even yesterday and day before, I've been tweeting about Rani Lakshmi Bai as it was a death anniversary on 18th. And a lot of what Richa is today, Sairi, comes from her very normal, middle class and convent upbringing of Jhansi. My father is a government doctor, now retired, of course. So we had a very simple upbringing. We've seen family not having budget to buy something, and we've seen all kinds of difficulties. And the thing was, in fact, I come from a family where I've seen gungat till here, and girls, I mean, they were educated, but not very career oriented. But my mother was always very particular, and my mother, in fact, comes from a much smaller town than Jhansi. Also, she comes from a town called Datia in Madhya Pradesh. But she was always very ambitious when it came to me. When all the relatives used to tell her, "Oh, you don't teach her how to cook. इसको कुछ सिखाया नहीं है, इसको कुछ आता नहीं है, इसको तो ससुराल वाले घर से निकाल देंगे," kind of things. And my mother, Sari, would be study 8 to 10 years old. I remember her saying, "खाना तो वो बना लेगी, सब लड़कियां बना लेती." She'll do much as meant for me. That stayed with me till today. And छोटी थी मैं, I think 5-6 साल की. I remember, she used to discuss Kiran Bedi with me. So my mother always had very big dreams about her, and I think that's what has brought me here. So I studied at convent school in Jhansi, St. Francis Convent. I did my college in Jhansi as well till 95. I was doing my graduate there, PSC. Along with if you remember those days, NI and app were the latest, they were just entering into the market. I enrolled myself a computer course in AppTech. And the final year of that computer course, so I was destined to be, I was supposed to become a software engineer. And to do the third year of that course, I came to Delhi. And you must have heard of SPICMAKE, that NGO, Society for Promoting Classical Music.
Cultural, yeah.
I became a member of that, culture. I joined SPICMAKE. And it just happened, Doordarshan was a curtain raiser on SPICMAKE. And Dr. Kiran Seth asked me to give a sound bite. And that sound bite changed my life forever. I just spoke normally, and the cameraman said, "Oh, she speaks so well and she looks good on the screen, camera." And the producer told me, "Have you ever tried in media?" I said, "Sir, I don't know anybody. I'm new to this town and everything. I'm new to Delhi." He said, "Okay, come and see me." And just with that one soundbite as an audition, I got a program in 1996 on Doordarshan called Ankur on gardening. And I was anchoring that program.
I remember seeing that. Wow.
So it used to come on Sunday morning. So that was 96. So that's how, that's how my life changed. I never planned to be a journalist.
Wow.
And then I got married. I moved to Ajmer with my husband, though he insisted that I should stay in Delhi and pursue my career, but I wanted to, I've always prioritized my life with, with clarity, utmost clarity. So I went to Ajmer. There I just saw an ad one day that the Hindi daily, Dainik Navjyoti of Rajasthan, they were looking for trainee journalists. So I just applied and they hired me. So next 2 years were print journalism. And then my daughter was born in 2000. And Sairi, I always say that, especially for Indian women, whoever, whichever woman has made something, of her life, there is a family, there's a husband, there's a mother, we come with a support system and we need that. I mean, let's accept the fact. So my husband was always very particular that you're not going to spend your whole life being a housewife like this. So he just made me come to Delhi again with my 6-month-old daughter and only 2 people supporting me, my husband and my mother. Everybody against my decision. And I lived in a small one room in Noida for a year. I was hired by Pandit Ravi Shankar, Sitar Maestro, to look after his Delhi office and everything. And simultaneously, I was struggling in the media, so I did a lot of freelance with ETV Urdu, with Doordarshan, DD Sports. Finally, in 2002, I got a job with Z News. And then everybody's seen the journey.
Yeah. Wonderful. I think 2 things really stayed with me, that my mother had big dreams for me, and I think everyone needs to prioritize their life. It's simply amazing how things turn out, and of course, and there's the whole story of you being on TV, and I think you brought a little bit of yourself on TV. Uh, I think
And I interrupt. Even when we talk about prioritize,
yeah.
Around 2008-9, my daughter is already a teenager now. But then that time also, I had to make up my mind that whether I need to do bulletins late night and be in the office while I'm not spending much time with my daughter who's about to enter her teens. So I gave her prime time news anchoring to just be with her.
Brilliant. Wow. And I think yes, I guess these are part of making the journey, and they're small changes, but they matter a lot. And and the other thing that stayed with me was that soundtrack that changed my life. I think somewhere extending beyond your regular comfort zone, whatever kind of life you have, and I think these are stories that resonate, I think, a lot within our community as well, because I think a lot of people have got where they've got because they just took a chance, they took a leap of faith, they tried something new and it clicked. And I think that's a that's a beautiful thing, because I always find that hardcore planning doesn't work. I think having your priorities in place and being open to change is is a beautiful thing. It takes you places. Wonderful.
Yeah.
So take us through Zindagi Live. I mean, it's such an iconic show now. I mean, I know you've made a lot of people cry on the show, and a lot
And
of
I've
people
cried
have.
as well.
Yes, and uh, I've watched the show a couple of times, and for somebody who doesn't watch TV and knows so much about the show, must be really massive. I mean, it's trickled down from various sources. Tell us about the journey. Also, share with us some of the stories that have stayed with you. Share with us how you made it your show. I mean, how you sort of brought a little bit of Richa into the show.
Firstly, the show came in 2007.
Yeah.
And hota kya tha, Sai, all of us have, I mean, we might be in any profession, we might be a doctor, engineer, lawyer, entrepreneur. There's some personality traits which we are identified with, right? So even as a news anchor or a reporter, मुझे कई बार लोग बोलते थे कि तुम एंकरिंग करते करते तुम्हारी आंखों में आंसू के थे. I mean, news anchors are supposed to be the patthar dil kinds, But I was always affected. A lot of times, if I'm just reading a news of a rape victim, I could not detach myself from any story that I was doing, whether as a reporter or an anchor. तो कभी-कभी ऐसा हुआ ऑफिस में लोग मुझे बोलते थे पता है तुम्हारे साथ ना ओपरा जैसा एक शो बनना चाहिए. So it was very casually. Sometimes I used to hear those comments from somebody that I wish I could make an Oprah kind of show with you someday. So I used to say maybe. And 2007, my boss called me and he gave me a CD. He said, you have to watch the CD. The pilot of Zindagi Live, actually that time it wasn't called Zindagi Live. A film actress was supposed to do the show, and it was known by her. It was supposed to be known by her name. I won't take the name today. So the pilot was not filmed. Some things went wrong, and I was told कि ये देख लीजिए CD और ये show शायद आप करेंगी. I said ठीक है. I took the CD home and I made my list of what I liked and what I didn't like. And next day I told my boss कि सर ये ऐसे ऐसे. So that's how the show came to me, because obviously, and I really strongly believe, Sairi, it's sometimes better to be written off. You know, पहले ये था कि एक celebrity करेगी तो marketing and everybody was very excited about the show. फिर ये हुआ अच्छा रिचा अनिरुद्ध करेगी, she's an insider, our anchor, ठीक है वो. So it was almost shelved कि ठीक है बन जाएगा एक normal सा show. But it's better to be like that. So 1 year nobody took notice of us, even in the organization. And first year when the NT awards were announced and we got the best talk show award, तब थोड़ा सा लोगों का ध्यान गया. So it's been वही बिल्कुल tortoise वाली speed पर हम. The good thing about Zindagi Live is that we've moved at our own pace. There hasn't been a very huge publicity thing done or a drive or a campaign. You've never seen a hoarding of Zindagi Live anywhere. And people started joining it as genuine viewers who liked the show, which is my strength today. As a journalist, I know we talk about numbers today, but kuch nahi karke, if there are 66,000 people there on Facebook writing to me how they've liked one episode or the other. If a girl from a small town, I mean from Allahabad, writing to me that I was on sleeping pills and the only thing that's keeping me alive is Zindagi Live. When I watch Zindagi Live, मुझे लगता है लोगों के और ज़्यादा दुख हैं. Somebody who wrote to me, you've just saved me from a suicide. People have written to me that you've saved me from a relapse because I was an alcoholic, but whenever I'm about to relapse, I watch Zindagi Live. So I think that's been the real strength. शायद show को TRPs, I don't know, हमसे कहा जाता था आपको TRPs की ज़रूरत नहीं है देखने की. And one person I have to give the credit for the show is Rajdeep Sardesai. He stood by the show, Sairi. He's never cared whether the show got TRPs. He knew that the show is getting appreciation. He knew that the show is getting awards, and that's what matters. Some stories, Neelam Katara ji, I remember asking her, कि आप कभी ये नहीं सोचती हैं कि you were a happy family before your son got killed. So don't you think, why me? Why did it? Because before that, I was also like the kind of person who would always say, why me? Why me? Why? And what she said? She said, the 52 years of my life, it was very happy. I had a loving husband and 2 sons. I never asked why me. Why am I getting so much happiness? So now today, when I have all the sadness of the world, why should I ask why me? So that stayed with me. There have been several stories. There have been some very depressing episodes which have made me very sad, like the Gujarat riots or the 84 riots, after which I had to actually properly go into meditations to just, Another person who stayed with me is, if you remember, Sandeep Unnikrishnan, who died in the 26/11, the commando, his father and mother. Oh my God, that was. I mean, I came back to Delhi. We shot that episode in Mumbai, and I remember crying for weeks after that episode. And there have been some very strong ones. Kartika, the girl who's is a laborer in Odisha or Karnataka, I think. She's a quarry worker, and that girl is studying in one of the best law colleges in India, studying in Calcutta. So her journey. So there have been very inspiring ones. There have been very sad and depressing ones. But Zindagi Live में आपने हमेशा देखा होगा हमने life की बात की है तो चाहे दुख रहा हो या inspirations रहे हो, the conclusion of the show has been कि life has to go on. So that's what I've learned personally. Personally, Zindagi Live has changed me a lot as a person. I was not the same Richa that I'm not the same Richa what I was 7 years back. So that's very special.
Wonderful. I think it's absolutely amazing, and what I really like about this journey is that it's full of empathy, it's full of energy, it's full of power, it's full of personal conviction, and I think important values to have in the workplace, important values to sort of uphold, irrespective of where how we are.
और एक बात और है, हम लोग जर्नलिस्ट क्या होता है, जर्नलिस्ट को बोलने का बहुत शौक होता है, हम सुनना नहीं चाहते. अभी recent years में ज्यादा हो गया है. We want to give our opinion to everything in this world. We want to say what we want. Zindagi Live has taught me to listen. आप बैठकर कभी-कभी सिर्फ किसी की बात सुनिए, वो बहुत जरूरी है. Without being judgmental. Honestly, Sairi, I remember when I did the first show with the homosexuals, I wasn't very comfortable. And if you watch that episode, you'll see my, I mean, as I said, somebody grown up in Jhansi, didn't have a very broad mindset. And here I was sitting with some homosexuals. And when I did the same episode 3 or 4 years down the line, how I changed as a person, more confident. And I was not judgmental anymore. I was able to appreciate them as just a human being, as another human being. The person, Harish Iyer, who came on the child sexual episode, and a child sexual abuse episode, and then he came with his mother on homosexuals episode, calls me sister. And I've been able to appreciate all kinds of people. Trust me, मैं ऐसी पहले नहीं थी. But Sindhi life has taught me to listen to people and to appreciate them the way they are.
I think wonderful learnings there, wonderful learnings for all of us from there. Yeah. So let me move on to the next big milestone which you've just crossed, is putting a book on Indian women out there. And while I haven't yet seen the book, I'm very curious to know how that happened. And I think we share a common passion about women rights and career choices for women and work-life choices for women. Share with us more.
What happened was that I was contacted by Wisdom Tree Publications, and they said we are putting together a book for the Ministry of External Affairs. The thing is, this book will be used as a diplomatic gift for all foreign guests and dignitaries. And they said, we want you to be a part of this book. So, our perception, and this is just after Nirbhaya and everything, and I was in London when Nirbhaya case happened, and everybody, you go out, you must have experienced, everybody just talks negative about the state of Indian women. Arey, aapki country mein to ye hota hai, oh, so much of teasing, oh, sexual harassment. I mean, the world has created an image. And because of which, such fantastic women who've done such awesome work in the country, if I'm getting a chance to know them better and to be able to contribute to a project which features all these women. So I readily agreed, obviously, there were no reasons to say no. And then we got involved in the making of the book, first making the list of women. So our effort ye tha, if we talk about a Naina Kidwai or a Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw or a Shehnaz Hussain, we still know these are women who came from, educated backgrounds, they were to go abroad, to study, to work. And then you listen about a Surekha Yadav, who's India's first woman train driver. Or a Harshini Kanhekar, who's the first woman firefighter. And when she got selected, there was no women's college, a hostel there. So because तब तक सिर्फ आदमी आते थे फायर फाइटिंग के जॉब्स में, एंड तो वो अपने घर पर रहती थी, एंड हाउ शी हैड टू कम्यूट टू द कॉलेज एवरी डे, अगर 3 बार भी कॉलेज जाना है, so she's faced all those difficulties. And somehow, I don't know why, because of my own background, Sairi, I'm able to connect with these women more who've struggled. All of us struggle at different levels. I'm not saying that the educated women don't struggle, but those who come from those very humble backgrounds, if I say, मैं सड़क पर अगर किसी वुमन कांस्टेबल को यूनिफॉर्म में देखती हूँ ना, it gives me more pride than I would see an IPS officer. Honestly, I mean, that's my thought. So it was a lovely experience putting all these stories together. We also have a Sushmita Sen there. We have Fatima Bibi, the first woman to become the judge of the Supreme Court. So it was a very interesting experience. Tijan Bai is there. Saina Nehwal, Mary Kom. So 2-3 efforts थे कि एक तो हर strata से और हर field की women, if we are able to, Lata ji हैं वहाँ उसमें. And there are different features. Some are autobiographical, where we've asked these women to write about themselves, where we knew that they could write fantastic stories about themselves. So Naina Lal ji and Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw, they've written their autobiographical pieces. There are some interviews, and there's some women who are no more with us, Humayun Vyarwala, then we have small pieces on that. So you must go through the book once.
I will, certainly. It's definitely on my list. In fact, I think we're going to share it with the SHEROES community as well. And,
sure. It's a very inspiring read. My daughter's 13 today, but I'm making one story at a time, because this is the age when our girls need to know कि अभी तक कितने साल में इस देश की लड़कियों ने, महिलाओं ने कहाँ struggle करके क्या किया है. And our daughters, I always tell my daughter, you're supposed to step beyond this. So it's a must read.
Interesting. I like the fact that you talked about your daughter. So I think the question that I sometimes think about is, so there was an India where we grew up. There's an India of our mother's generation, and I think there's an India now where the generation which is in their 20s, which is still in their teens, The generation that's going to, I think, become part of the workforce in another couple of years. They're going to make their own choices. What is your vision of work-life choices for women? What's your vision of women's rights in India? What's your vision for our children? I think when not just I think maybe our daughters, our children at large, our sons are. I think what's your vision? Where do you see this going? What do you think about this?
See, coming from a personal experience, what happens is, I mean, I have one daughter. I will not say I have only one daughter. So very frequently I come across people who say, "एक बेटी है, बस, you know, एक बेटा तो होना चाहिए, you know." I go for family weddings and say, "Oh, why didn't you plan another child? You do need a son, right?" And this is something that's hurt me terribly, hurt and angered me. And I keep telling people. So sometimes, I used to say, I mean, somebody gives me a guarantee that I'll have second child also as a girl, I won't mind one. So they thought I was mad. So, the first thing in the society to change is this mindset side. I mean, recently we heard about Mundeji's cremation. You must have read about it, and the daughter doing it. I've been advocating it for so many years. प्रॉब्लम ये हो गई है कि एक पुराना माइंडसेट जो चला आ रहा है उसी एंड इट्स अ विशियस साइकिल you give dowry to your daughter, that's why you should have a daughter, because you know that when she grow up you have to earn a lot of money to give her dowry, and then she'll be a victim of domestic violence in her house, which you won't like it. So I'm not saying parents बेटी क्यों नहीं चाहते पैदा करना, क्योंकि ये लंबी सी एक विशियस साइकिल है, इस साइकिल को कहीं तो तोड़ना होगा. So first, and I say it's only women who can change this. My mother changed it for me. I will change it for my daughter. Nobody else will come and do it for us. No man can come and do it for us. So first is this: please give birth to girls and raise them. Just in fact, मुझे ये भी अच्छा नहीं लगता है कि जब लड़कियां अच्छा करती तो बोलते हैं तू तो मेरे बेटे जैसा है. It's such a common sentence that we hear. क्यों? अगर आज मैं कुछ हूँ तो मैं बेटे जैसी क्यों हूँ? मैं बेटी हूँ and I'm a fantastic daughter. Why can't I just be that? So society's mindset has to change, and it will start from the parents, it will start from the family. एक तो ये चीज है, and then I mean every parent should raise their daughter not to get married but to become an independent woman. That's what my mother told me. That's we said our mother's generation and our generation. My mother told me, remember, I'm not getting you married till you hand over your first salary to me. And I wish all mothers can say this to their girls. I tell my daughter, I said, whatever is mine is yours, but you're not getting any of it till you make your own money. So this is very important. We need to give confidence to our girls. Beta, tu kuch bhi karogi, I'm giving you the wings to fly. Sky is yours, and just fly. Women rights pe mujhe lagta hai kai baar, I don't know whether I should be saying it or not. I see a lot of double standards, and even the women who made it to the light, sometimes there are a lot of things that look nice on television debates and all, but ground reality पर हम क्या कर रहे हैं? I'm one of those people who are not very for reservations of any kind. I always say that have equality in giving education, be any community, but once it comes to the real competition, it should be only merit. Merit should be the only benchmark that people should get to a medical examination or an engineering examination. So I don't even advocate reservation for women. What I want is good education, health, nutrition, sanitation. We've discussed that on Power of 49 with you. All that has to be done. और ये कि तुम लड़की हो तो किसी तरह से कमजोर हो, you can't do this. We raise our girls saying, oh, don't lift that heavy bucket, you can't do that. Oh, you can't do that, let your brother, we call your brother to do this. You can't ride a bike, you can't do this. Why? So you can't do this has to just move. Girls can do everything their parents allow them to do. At the same time, I'm not the pseudo feminist who would say smoking is fine, drinking is fine. Again, I say if there we have to maintain equality, we have to say smoking is bad. Bad for men, it's equally bad for women. In trying to say that, oh, I'm equal to any man, I don't need to smoke, Sairi. I need to just step out into the world and do a lot of things that men can do and they think that women can't do. Smoking is not one of them. Drinking is not one of them. So, slightly against those kind of things.
Right. I think very valid and practical points there. Also, I think Somewhere I feel that India also needs to build their own version of success here. I think both the women's rights movements and the human rights movements and the women at work uh, story needs to go to what we call the Desi Mahila. It needs to go to women who are the average small towners, large towners, and anybody possibly can be. And I think that's important.
And it is to
Absolutely.
go to every woman, every woman. I remember a young girl called me up last year, January, and she contacted me on Facebook against her husband that he's just deserted her, and she's with a 2-year-old child. And I just asked her, "What do you do?" So she said, "I used to be working, but my husband made me quit my job." So I told her, "Darling, I'm not talking to you, and I'm not counseling you till you call me back with a job in hand." And I just disconnected. A week later, she messaged, "Ma'am, it's my interview today. Will you please wish me good luck?" Today, when you talk to her, Sairi, she's an independent woman. She's gone through the divorce. She signed the paper. She doesn't even care about the husband. The son is with her. She's taking care of him, and she's the father and the mother of the child. So it has to be. I have touched upon a lot of individual stories like that, and I tell women, move on, and it's about your life. It's about your child. So you have to be independent. तो
These
ये
are
जो
also
अवेयरनेस ये जो अवेयरनेस है ना, ये जब तक छोटे शहरों में, ये हम दिल्ली में बैठ के बातें करते हैं अच्छी लगती हैं, बट आप छोटे शहरों में जाइए, ये माइंडसेट आज भी नहीं
very
है, वो उस लेवल तक लेकर जाने की जरूरत है.
good. Very good. I think you're absolutely right. So I'm going to come to a very practical question, which is so obviously there are many roles you play with. You you're a mom, you're a wife, you have so many professional interests. You're doing so many things at the same time. Tell us about your juggling mantra. Tell me about your fitness mantra. I mean, I think one thing we all sort of need to top up at all levels is our energy levels, right? And I find that that's a big gap. I think women and fitness is a these are non-related conversations, but I think they're related conversations. Women's health, women's
Yeah.
fitness, their energy levels.
I
Tell me
think
about yours.
what happens is typically with women, normally अगर housewives हैं तो हम एक comfort zone में चले जाते हैं, then they stop caring about their health. I used to be very, very, I mean, if you see my pictures on Google also when I was with Z or early years of IBN, I used to be very thin. So health was never a concern. I mean, being fit was never a concern. I was always very slim. Over the years, because of some medicines that I've taken, I've been putting on weight. And I realized for everyone, fitness is very important. You can't just leave your body, ignore your body. And in fact, we've done a show on women cancer, and I said that we take care of our children, we take care of the husband, we take care of our parents, but we always ignore ourselves. It doesn't take too much of time if we go for one, a pap smear or any, cancer detection test once a year. I mean, that's the least we can do for ourselves, and we need to love our body. I mean, during these shows, I realized, am I giving proper attention to myself as well? So abhi to mera bada ekdam fix hai. Mornings like at 5:30, and I have to tell you here, I'm an Osho follower. So I read and listen to a lot of Osho discourses, and I also do Osho meditations. I've been tweeting about it also recently. So there's a meditation called dynamic meditation, which is done early morning, 6:30 to 7:30. I go for those for that meditation, and once every 6-7 months, I go to Dharamshala. There's a meditation resort there, and I do a proper 3 days or 10 days meditation camp there, which is the fitness from here, from head to toe. It helps you de-stress yourself,
Recharge your battery.
yeah, forget all the problems of life. And my evenings, 1 or 1.5 hours are in the gym for sure.
Wow.
So ये दो चीजें तो मैं करती हूँ. Mental fitness, as I said, I read a lot of Osho for that, or a lot of self-help books. I I love reading, so that's my fitness. These days, I've started maintaining a balanced diet kind of a thing also, because I'm almost about to enter my 40 next year, and I think this is the age where maximum attention needs to be given to your body, because what I feel is once you're 45, 46, uske baad, to recover back would be very difficult. So if you put on certain kgs, it's difficult to lose them. So my advice for women from 30 to 40 is, just check yourself right now before it's too late.
Wonderful. I think stands true for all of us. We need to pay more attention to our health and energy levels. Absolutely. So, Richa, I think we are almost getting towards the end of this conversation. So, you know about what we do. You know about the women at work conversation, enabling work-life choices, women and their careers. Give a message to the Sheroes community. Give a message to all the men and women out there. I'm sure a lot of men are out there watching this show, and a lot of women are going to have a look at this. Why don't you sort of, leave a little Richard's message for them?
I very strongly believe, Sairi, and this is what I've learned from Osho. We talk about getting respect from others, and Osho once said very lovely thing. He said, because you don't respect yourself, that's why you seek respect from the whole world, and it hurts when you don't get that. I tell every woman that I meet, love and respect yourself first. Because if you don't love and respect yourself, don't expect your husband to love you and respect you, or your children to love and respect you. And the day you start loving and respecting yourself, the whole world will do that. So that's my message for every woman. And similarly for men, don't forget she's a mother, she's your wife, she's fulfilling so many roles. The last paragraph of my editorial in the Indian Woman, I've said that, whenever I'm commuting on the roads and I see that one woman standing at the bus stop, you also must have seen, वो महिला है जिसके पास बहुत सारे privileges नहीं है of having a domestic maid or somebody, वो घर का काम करके आई होगी, सुबह उसने नाश्ता बनाया होगा, खाना बनाया होगा, वो शाम को काम करके थकी हुई जब घर जाएगी, she'll still be working, she'll take care of the kids' homework, and I wrote there that she's the real Indian woman, and my heart goes out to every woman like that who's juggling between work, home, family, and men need to understand that now. She's doing that multitasking, and please love her and respect her for that. So that's my message to both of them.
Yes, and maybe even step up, contribute more.
Yeah, sure.
Absolutely. Wonderful talking to you, Richa. Thank you so much for your time. I think
thank you.
It just flown by. It feels like a few seconds that we finished 30 minutes of conversation. But we hope to speak to you soon, and thank you so much.
Sure.
You take care. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you for introducing me to Hangout. This is my first experience.
Wonderful. You must send a message to Google India. Thank you so much. Thanks. Bye, Richard.
Thank you. My pleasure. Bye-bye.